Mike Butcher of TechCrunch Europe. Real-time stream.
Yes.
It's a fire hose.
Yes.
How important is curation or relevance of that fire hose to you?
Well, the way I use Twitter and in the first instance is the most obvious real-time stream, I suppose, is I use TweetDeck, and I now follow about 2,000 people, and as effectively a blogger come journalist, I use it as a sort of radar to keep in contact with my scene, and not only my friends but also people who I think are influencers and influential in the scene that I write about, the technology startup scene in Europe. And my TweetDeck is now sort of 3 feet long, is the way I've gradated people and searches and things. And I did that, I guess, because TweetDeck was the first to implement the groups feature, but of course there are other platforms coming through now which allow that kind of implementation. So the curation of it is really coming from me, very much on a very granular level. I mean, I really do look at who I want to follow and how I place them in the kinds of, in the panels that I want to place them in. And so that's how I do it, yeah.
In terms of relevance, for example, so what does relevance mean to you? Is it the freshness of the information? Is it from whom it comes? Is it the overall context? Is it subject-based, personal or professional? I mean, I'd imagine there are any number of factors.
Well, yes, there's a number of things. I mean, I think what's interesting is that, I mean, I have a little panel called Key Tweets, and Key Tweets are from people who are like CEOs, people who may not necessarily tweet that often, but if I see them pop up and they're doing something, then that says something to me. Also reminds me to kind of contact them. In a funny sort of way, Twitter has replaced LinkedIn for me as a business network and a kind of business radar, and for my professional life and to some extent my personal life as well. And so it's you know, both the person who's speaking and also how timely it is important. You know, the perfect storm is somebody who hardly ever tweets, but is, I know from my own knowledge, is influential and maybe is doing something really interesting. That's very interesting to me. Someone else who I watch who just is a bit of a fire hose type person who just goes on and on.
I'm sure we don't know any of those people.
I don't know who's
oh wait,
like that.
I think I am.
But
sorry.
But no.
I'm more of a garden hose, really.
Those good people still bring something to the party, as it were, for me, and act as a filter. They are a fire hose, but a kind of a filtered and a curated fire hose in their own right. So that's also very useful.
So I'm going to say 2 words, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Digital intuition.
I guess I'd counter with oh God, emotionality. I don't know. That's a terrible word. I made that up. I don't know. It's hard to respond to something like that, but when I see somebody, just to unpack that, when I see somebody talk about Twitter or talk about the real-time world, and they kind of go against, they basically spout the buzzwords and the bingo words, then I would say that they don't have digital intuition. But when I see somebody else talk about the actual underlying structure of things and also, I think, relate it to the real world. I recently attended a meetup at Downing Street in London, which is the residence of the Prime Minister, which was held by Sarah Brown, who's the wife of the Prime Minister, for almost our own personal Queen Rania, and everybody there was basically there because of Twitter, because they'd connected with her, and they were most of the time they were pushing their own personal causes, whether charitable or social entrepreneurship, and these people were brought together very much in the real world as a result of Twitter. So there was a real intuition going on there, fascinating intuition.
Excellent. Well, Mike Butcher, TechCrunch Europe, thank you very much.